Good morning, Year 5. Welcome to Tuesday's Maths. Now today we're going to have a look at can we multiply a one-digit number by a two- or three-digit number. This is a recap on some Year 4 knowledge ready to support our explorations of multiplication and division this term. So the first thing you need to do is pause me and have a go at our arithmetic starters. So pause me. Once you're ready and you've answered them all, unpause me and I'll show you the answers. Welcome back. Here are the answers for your arithmetic starters. How many did you manage to do in your head? Well done if you got even some of them right, because some of these are really tricky. So well done. Let's have a look at what's going to happen today. Okay, first things first. What multiplication facts do you know? Write a list of your top 10 hints and tips for multiplication. Your multiplication vocabulary. I'm talking about times. I'm talking about product. I'm talking about altogether. Any sort of vocabulary you can think of that is linked to multiplication, and any facts and top tips you can remember. These are going to be super helpful for you this term. So make a list ready for you to refer back to. If you want me to check out your list, then drop me an email with a picture of them and I'll have a look. Okay then, here we go. Let's see how we do multiplying a one-digit number by a two-digit number. The multiplication we have here is 34 times 5. Now Whitney has done it this way using place value counters to help her with her exchanging. Now I know you don't necessarily have place value counters at home. Any counters will do if you have them, or you can draw your counters just like we do on our whiteboards in school. Let's have a look at what Whitney has done. She has split her calculation into the ones column and the tens column to help her keep track, and she's made a note of what the place value columns are at the top of her calculation to keep track. Nice and simple top tip there. So let's have a look at her calculation. She's first started by doing 5 times 4. Now I know Whitney has done this in counters first. She knows 5 times 4 is 20, so she's pulled out 21 counters here. What do we do when we have 10 counters in a place value column? We shuffle them along and we exchange them for the next one up, and that's exactly what she's done. She's changed 10 here into a 10 counter here, and the other 10 ones she's changed into another 10 counter here, and she's put them at the bottom to remind herself that she's exchanged those. Then she's worked out that she's now got 0 ones here and 2 tens here, and that's exactly what she's put in her calculation. Then she's gone on to the next stage and she's done 5 times 30. Now I know in my head I do 5 times 3 and I times that by 10, so I know it's 150. So what she has done here is she knows that 3 times 5 is 15, so she's going to have 15 tens in her place value column here. So she's put all those 15 tens in. She's done exactly the same thing she did before with her ones. However, this time she's taken 10 tens and exchanged them into 100. That has left her with 100 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 tens, which is 170. And that's how she found her answer. That is what Whitney has done. Let's see if we can have a go ourselves. Okay, we are going to focus on the calculation 42 times 5, or 5 times 42. And I've got my place value grid and I've got my place value counters down here for us to have a go. So we're going to do exactly what Whitney did, and we're going to split up our calculation. So I'm going to start by doing 5 times 2, which is nice and simple. I know 5 times 2 is 10, so I'm going to grab 10 ones here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now I know 5 times 2. I'm just going to cheat a little bit. And now I've got 10 ones here. I've got 5 10. Now, because I've got 10 of them, I know I'm immediately going to exchange my 10 ones for 1 10. And I'm going to put this down here so that I don't get confused. In fact, I might add a quick line across so I know that my answer is going to be along the bottom. It's a bit of a wiggly line. I should have used a ruler, really. So I've exchanged my 10 ones for 1 10. I now know that my ones column has got a 0 in and my tens column has got a 1 in it. And that is the first stage of my calculation. I'm going to change the colour. And I'm going to do the next one, which is 5 again, because that is our 1 times 40. Now, it's really important that I write 40 to make sure I remember that it's 40 and it's in our tens column and it's not 4, because that might end up confusing me and leading me to make a marvellous mistake. So I'm going to focus on my tens column now, and I'm going to do 5 times 4. Now, I know that that is 20, so I'm going to count out 20 counters. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is much quicker when you've got counters in person. 8, 9, 10. I think I'm going to be sneaky and copy them again so that I can double my counters nice and quickly. There we go, and I'll move those ones down so that you can see them all. And I now have 20 counters in my tens column. Now, exactly the same as we did with our ones, we counted them up and exchanged them. I now know I've got 2 groups of 10 here, so I'm going to exchange all of these for 200 down here. So I know I can put my 200 here next to my calculation like this. Now, we could simply add these up, or we can check down here. Well, I know I've got 200 in my hundreds column. I'm going to change my colour again. I've got 200 in my hundreds column, and I've got 110 in my tens column, and I've got nothing in my ones column. And 200 add 10 is 210. So that is Whitney's method played out here. So what you need to do now is have another go yourself. I want you to try 23 times 6 and 48 times 3. You're going to pause me again, have a go, and then I will show you the answers. Welcome back. Let's have a look at the answers. Your answers should be 138 and 144. Let's carry on and see what other methods we can find. Okay, this is Ron's method. Now, Ron does his exchanging much like we do when we do formal addition. He does it underneath his answer space. So he's done exactly the same calculation. He's done 5 times 4. He's put his 0 straight down here, and his 20 has come underneath the answer slot. Then he's done 3 times 5, which is 15, but he hasn't put his 5 here. He's immediately added on his 2 to make it 50, and then he's popped his 1 over here in the hundreds column. Then he's done 5 times 0, which is 0, and he's added on his 100 to make 170. So let's have a quick go at this method together. We're going to start by going 3 times 3. Well, that's nice and simple. That's 9, a nice little square number for us there. I'm going to pop 9 in my ones column. I've got nothing to exchange at this point. Then I'm going to go to my next column, which is my tens column, and I'm going to do 4 times 3, which is 12. So I'm going to put my 2 in my ones column, in my tens column, sorry, to represent my 20, and I'm going to exchange my 1 over into my hundreds column. Then I'm going to do 3 times 0, well that's 0, but I'm going to remember that I need to add on my 100, so my answer is going to be 129. Feel free to pause me and go back and watch that again if I went slightly too fast. If you're ready to have a go at Ron's method yourself, pause me here and I will show you the answers in just a moment. Okay, welcome back. Here are the answers. You've got 36 times 4 is 144, and 74 times 5 is 370. I hope you managed to do those brilliantly. Let's move on. Have a look at the two methods side by side. Have a pause, have a think. What is the same? What is different? Which method do you prefer and why? Okay, we're going to move on now to look at timesing one-digit numbers by three-digit numbers. Okay, let's have a look at this calculation. We're going to do 3 times 203. You can see I've swapped it over now just to see if I can keep you on your toes. So I put my top number here, which is my one-digit number. Let's have a go at this one. So we're going to start by doing 3 times 3. Nice and simple. We're going to pop our 9 in here. Then we're going to do 3 times 0. Well, that's going to be nice and simple. So that is going to be 0, and I'm going to make sure that I put 0 in both of my columns so that I don't get confused at the end when I'm looking at the whole calculation. Then I'm going to do 3 times 2. Here it's in the hundreds column, so it's actually 3 times 200. 3 times 2 is 6. And we're going to make sure we put our zeros in our tens column and our ones column. Oh, I didn't put my calculation. Here we go. 3 times 2. And I've just realised I've made a marvellous mistake. I wrote 3 times 3 up here instead of 3 times 0. Now, if I did that in the classroom, you would have told me immediately, wouldn't you? Let's swap that out for a 0. There we go. Swap that out for a 0. Silly Miss Rutherford for making such a silly, marvellous mistake, but good thing we spotted it in time. So we've now got to add up. Well, 9 plus 0 is 9. 0 plus 0 is 0. That's probably the easiest calculation today. And then 6 plus 0 is 6. So our answer is 609. Now we do exactly the same the other way, except that we would have to be doing exchanging. However, have a look at this calculation. Do you think we need to do exchanging? No, I don't think so either. So you can have a go at this one if you want, or you can jump straight over to try these two at the top. Can you try 7 times 402 and 4 times 356? Feel free to go back, check out my method, check out Ron's method or Whitney's method again if you need to. Welcome back. Let's have a look at those answers. Fantastic. Okay, if you got those correct, give yourself a massive pat on the back. You can see our answers are getting bigger and bigger. Let's have a look at the next step. It's a word problem. Now this is quite a nice simple one. This is a word problem. A school has 4 house teams. There are 245 children in each house team. How many children are there altogether? Have a go at this one. Pause me, pick your best method, and I will tell you the answer shortly. Okay, here is your answer. The calculation you should have done is 4 times 245 equals 980. There are 980 children altogether. Let's have a look at one more question and then I'll set you some tasks to do at home. Here is a lovely circle the correct answer question for you. Have a go at this calculation. See if you can work out which answer is the correct one. Pause me here. And here is your answer. The answer is 1,680. Okay, today I'm going to be putting up some varied fluency tasks for you and then some problem solving and reasoning. Have a go. If you complete them both and you want to have a go at an extra challenge, create some word problems that need to be solved using at least 2 steps that includes a multiplication step like we've seen today. Email me your questions and I will share the best ones from both classes later in the week. My email address is on the website. Have a fun day doing brilliant maths, guys.